money's on the screen tonight. Secrets out in plain sight. Luxury homes at half the price. Making dreams so slow.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Long time no see. So today we're going to talk about Trump's presidency's effect on the housing market, how it will increase the prices or decrease them maybe. Obviously, Donald Trump is one of the biggest developers in the history of the United States. His hotels are everywhere, all around the world, and not only in the United States. I think personally, mostly it will have a positive effect on the housing market. He was, at least in his first term, he was really interested in people's ability to afford their houses. Although the prices went up, I mean, honestly, it's inevitable because you just have a certain amount of land and growing population. Obviously, when the demand grows, the price will grow. I think at least his first term was really important was the deductions that were allowed to the landlords who would rent their houses or use it as a short-term rentals or any kind of business. Now, if you don't know, you could just buy a house, do the cost segregation, say the house worth like 300,000. 100,000 is the worth of the land and 200,000 is the worth of the house. And you could just deduct, I'm not a CPA, just for the record, but you could deduct about that 200,000, the structure cost of that house from your first year of the taxes. That was called cost segregation study. I think he will just extend that thing. There were some talks about Congress prohibiting 1031 exchange. I think they will obviously cancel this. They will still allow it. Obviously, another thing that was important was the deregulation and the tax cuts. I'm really curious to see what will happen at this time, but pretty much it's going to be something similar to their previous term. Of course, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act also helped to reshape somehow the economic situation. Although the president doesn't have exact influence on the Fed is quote-unquote independent body, but he somehow shapes the interest rates. That was his policies that Fed might offer in future. Everybody's expecting the interest rates to go down. I think he will probably shoot somewhere closer to 4%. That is going to be sustainable. That's not going to cause too much inflation, because inevitably when you print money, inflation is just going to happen. There's no way around it. When you have lower interest rate, people borrow money and pretty much it helps the economy grow. Somewhere around 4.5%, I think that's going to be the interest rate. Thank you for watching, and I would like to mention that this video is sponsored by my company. We help landlords to maximize their rental income. Normally, we take the property, say it's been rented for $3,000, we'll help landlord to make about $5,000 and charge about 10% from the profits. This is what we do. If you guys interested, if you're a landlord and looking for that company that could help you with getting more rent, just letting you guys know, I'm also a realtor in California. Any part of California you're looking for real estate, property for yourself, to live with a family, or for investment, I'm your guy. Feel free to hit me up in the video. Which tells you that it's the best time to buy right now, because currently we have somewhere around high 6, low 7s, and imagine if the interest rates could go down to 4s, that will definitely increase the housing prices. Although he's trying to keep them small, not go crazy, but the thing that I think they will use for that, the instrument that they will use for having the prices not go crazy, would be deregulation. Critics argue that Trump's policies neglected affordable housing. Honestly, I think it really depends where, because housing is really local. I actually talked to the realtor from Detroit a couple days ago. I was just researching the market there. Most of them tell that they just straightforward rent to the Section 8 people. That's a federal program. He would probably not be able to cut those vouchers because those people depends on them. But what will happen is it will shape different markets differently. Like where it was a Section 8, it will stay Section 8. Where it wasn't Section 8, obviously it will not become Section 8 market. For California, it's almost impossible to get those vouchers for free housing in the government-sponsored housing. Most of the time they're free. I don't think it will have any effect here in California. But the prices in the places like California and Florida will definitely go up, especially Florida. So there was another initiative by the President Trump called Trump's Opportunity Zone Initiative. That was something pointed towards the communities that were more in need, because those were the lower income, mostly zip codes that were targeted, and the opportunity zone pretty much means that you could, invest there, get some tax benefits in future. It will just, the money invested there would go to develop the local amenities of the zip code and the city, which is very smart. I think it would eventually probably work, and we'll see the results after like 5-10 years. But from what I can say, I work with lots of investors who invest in Santa Ana, and I think that the word for that is gentrification. I'm not sure if it's the right word or not, because English is obviously my second language. However, what I see that is people start to buy there and housing prices go up there. While housing prices go up there, the neighborhoods reshape itself. Less crime, you can see more nicer houses, and obviously it has overall good impact on the community. The interesting thing during first term, and I think it was related more to the pandemic than this presidency, was the reshape of the suburban housing. Now, up until 2020, all the housing markets that were megapolises, like bigger cities, they would grow. But after 2020, people start to move to suburbs, and I think obviously it was related to the jobs. But now with Elon Musk in place, I think they will demand everyone to come back to office, and it somehow will balance the markets between suburbs and the cities. Definitely something that will have an effect on the housing is the immigration policies. Personally, in the states like California, there are like a bunch of people who are undocumented, who are pretty much crossing the border with no documents, and those guys do some kind of work. They don't pay taxes, but they are tenants, they pay rent to the other people who pay taxes, so somehow they do contribute to communities. Honestly, I think it will be impossible to enforce the border policies in the places like California, because it's just too big. They were not able to do it in the first term, and especially in this state opposing this, it will be really hard to implement it. And there are millions of people who are undocumented, and if they don't really commit crime or do anything bad, it's really impossible to find them, unless you will have a CCTV cameras everywhere like China does. But overall, I think it's a good thing, because I personally had tenants that were not really good people. As an immigrant, I can say that not every immigrant coming to the United States have good intentions. Most of them come here to become a successful, yes, but some of them, they used to break law in their home countries, and they come here to break law even more, take advantage of everything, and then probably go to another country. Now, one of the biggest things that President Trump is planning to implement is the tariffs. Obviously, this is a two-edged sword. Although they're talking about completely getting rid of IRS, I don't think that it's going to be technically possible, because one of the places that government takes main source of income besides printing money is the IRS. Eliminating IRS will mean that it will be really, really hard. Although it's going to be more efficient, you will just, charge whatever you're importing to your country, and obviously United States is one of the world's biggest importers. But overall, in theory, it's really hard to understand how it's going to work out. But definitely, if there are going to be additional tariffs for everything that is imported here, lumber is local, but most of the construction materials are coming from China. Literally every fourth product or fifth product you buy anywhere in the world is made in China. So definitely it will have an effect. Everything will go up in price. But if they will get rid of the IRS and all the taxes are people paying, that will might somehow balance. Honestly, I don't think that they will be able to implement those things. Stock market will go up. That's one of the main predictions that everybody's making. Probably less tenant protection, although he was a landlord most of his life. Obviously, he will be siding with the landlords, but the tenant protection thing is really, it's really changed from state to state. Some states don't have any kind of tenant protections. The others have everything in place, and even more than needed. Like one of our friends here, I will be making a separate video about it. She had people just coming in her property, paying half of the deposit, and then obviously it was her mistake. She was a single mom who were pretty much trying to act as a landlord, and she didn't know what she was doing. But then those guys stopped paying, and nothing helped. She had to pay 3 months of the rent from her pocket. That's crazy. Like, you cannot do anything pretty much. You have to wait for the courts to approve, for the sheriff to come, and it's really messy. They might come, they might not come. So honestly, I think that these things are local, but they need some kind of reforms, even on the local stage. There will be some policies that will make it easier for investors to invest from overseas. That's definitely that's something that they will be looking at, especially Middle Eastern markets. Lots of people with cash that will be interested in investing in markets in the United States, and they will be making that easier. Nowadays, it's literally almost impossible to get a loan if you don't have a social security number or ITIN, which is a replacement of social security numbers for the foreigners. They will probably do some work on that. Many critics of Trump are saying that inequality is going crazy, especially during his presidency, but come on, guys, this is something inevitable. I mean, it doesn't matter who's going to be the president. I'm not defending him. I'm kind of neutral towards Trump, but definitely the inequality will grow because rich people will keep getting richer because they do more, they produce more, and poor people. No, I know some people that just smoke marijuana all day long, do nothing, play games. Obviously, those guys are going to get poor. What do you expect? Well, honestly, my big expectation is about Food and Drugs Administration, or about, I think, the Health Department, where he's going to appoint a candidate, because there's definitely need to get rid of all the food toxins here in America. Like literally every food, doesn't matter organic, non-organic, whatever it is, literally every food is being impacted by the big companies like Monsanto that use poisonous materials to get rid of all the insects and everything else. And this needs to be addressed. This is like a number 1 priority, because you cannot just do nothing and watch how companies are poisoning your own nation. Anyways, I have big hopes about it. If you guys like this video, do not forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about the Trump presidency and how it will affect the housing market. Stay tuned, guys. See you in the next one.
Show you all the how. Mansions and condos, wow. Afford it all with his know-how. K-Money breaking down the walls. Luxury living for us all. From penthouses to cozy stalls. Watch him rise, we hear the calls.